Hey, man.
What's going on?
Have you ever heard of Billy Mitchell?
Billy Mitchell.
Billy Mitchell.
No.
Well, do we have a show for you?
Bum, 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 bum.
If you like to waltz
doing
in arcades.
bits. We're trying to get to the story first. Come on, come on. Look at the nerdiest people you've ever seen. Look how pale they are. Don't make eye contact. That'll spook them.
And he's got a giant head. And so he sues...
He looks like a mascot for a school whose mascot is the Heads.
Go Heads!
Things I learned last night.
So Billy Mitchell.
Sounds like a car salesman.
Honestly, I was going to show you his picture yet, but the fact that you said that looks like a car salesman.
And a WWE wrestler. Is he a wrestler?
He's the closest thing you can get to a WWE wrestler without actually being a WWE wrestler.
Oh.
Here's something very important about Billy Mitchell I want to highlight for a second, though. This is Billy Mitchell. Mm-hmm. And Billy Mitchell is a man who owns only one tie.
No. That's variation. Wait, hold on.
I went a little too far. This one's a little different.
Why was that actor playing Billy Mitchell? I guess I'll find out, but
I guess you'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. Well, I went a little too far. So yeah, there is a variation in there. So they do vary a little bit, but he pretty much exclusively wears American flag ties.
Is he a Donkey Kong champion?
Yeah, so Billy Mitchell...
Because he's in front of Donkey Kong in all these pictures, and he's also in an arcade in this one.
Yeah.
And this video looks like he is a lawyer for arcade incidents. Have you or a loved one been injured in an arcade? That's what it looks like.
Have you or a loved one been playing pinball and had the pinball shootout and gouge your eyes out?
Have you been pinballed by someone you love?
Billy Mitchell's made me $1 million after my pinball incident.
So what happened?
So Billy Mitchell, he is significant because he's really, honestly, probably the first big esports personality ever.
Okay.
In history. And he's got and the recent history for him has been a little controversial.
Recent history?
He
got me too'd.
No. Okay. His recent history has been a little controversial, but we'll start it in his not recent history. We call that the past. He was born in 1965 in Holyoke, Massachusetts, which Holyoke is a great town name.
Great. It's killer. Like it seems like not a Hallmark movie, but it seems like a movie that's making fun of Hallmark movies. You know what I'm talking about?
It does. It's like it flows.
It's so meta that it's like Holyoke.
No, but what I'm saying is like it just flows off the tongue like molasses, like Massachusetts. Holyoke. It just feels good. Like if you Holyoke.
Holyoke where?
Massachusetts.
Holyoke, Massachusetts?
Holyoke, Massachusetts. Okay. Yeah. But he moved to South Florida and pretty much lived the rest of his life in South Florida.
Yeah, which he looked like a Florida guy.
He does look like a Florida man. That is Florida man.
Yeah. You can see because like the skin cancer he's got from the sun.
That'll do it. And he came up in pinball era. And so like born in 65.
Okay.
Got really, really into pinball. Frequented the local arcade.
Sure. Was
a pinball man. And I didn't prepare this. But
okay.
You know that song Pinball Wizard?
Yeah.
Is Pinball Wizard, the song, pretty much the same, like that era's Fortnite song?
What's the Fortnite song?
You know the Fortnite song?
No.
It's that kid, and he's like, I don't know the words because I'm not like a Fortnite fan, but it's like a literal kid. You don't know the Fortnite song?
I don't know the Fortnite song.
Well, I clearly don't know it either, but I know it enough to know.
We got a number one Victory Royale, yeah, Fortnite, we about to get down. 10 kills on the board right
Gotcha.
now.
Yes.
Just went out to Potato Town.
No. Pinball Wizard is not the same because Pinball Wizard is about a kid at the arcade who is deaf, dumb, and blind.
Wait, hold on.
Do you not know the lyrics to
I
Pinball
guess
Wizard?
I don't know how Pinball Wizard works.
He's a pinball wizard.
Yeah, I thought it was just a kid that was really good at pinball.
That deaf, dumb, and blind kid sure plays a mean pinball.
Wow.
Dun, dun.
He's even more impressive now.
Yeah,
Is
because
it
he's
Billy
deaf,
Mitchell?
dumb, and blind.
That's crazy.
That's like the whole thing. Okay. Yes.
Interesting. This
Deaf,
changes
dumb,
my
and blind
whole
kid.
perception of that song. I thought it was just the Who thought people that were good at pinball are really cool.
No,
And
they
wrote
were
a
making
whole
fun of their
song about
local special needs person is what they were doing.
No, they are. They're respecting him for his pinball skills.
That deaf, dumb, and blind kid
Yeah, but it was what, the 70s?
sure has a big heart. That's not what they said.
Sure
Sure
plays-
is fun to hang out with. No.
Hey, but
Sure is fun to make a song about and monetize and make a lot of money off of.
I bet
And
they-
he plays a mean pinball.
I bet there was no actual kid that they were writing about. They probably made it up. You, as a stand-up, should know this. Everything's made up. No, so Billy, he started out as a pinball kid.
Because he's got to feel the pinball is the whole thing. He's deaf, dumb, and blind.
Oh, so he feels it?
So he's going off of...
What? But here's the thing. You played...
That was both at the same time.
Yeah, I know. But you played pinball. Like, that's...
I have a pinball machine.
No, you don't.
Bro, I moved to LA and became a you know what I'm saying? Like, I got a pinball machine.
Became a what?
I became like a person. I became like one of
a
these.
person.
I became such a terrible person.
Yeah.
I've got a hot tub in my living
In the
room.
living room, next to your pinball machine.
I have a
I
TV
played
mounted on the
pinball
ceiling
in
so I
the
can
hot
lay on
tub.
the floor. Just. I got a VR headset,
Yeah.
catch my VR comedy shows.
I got a waterbed, but it's clear. There's fish in it.
Yes.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah, and a lobster.
And a lobster. There's a lobster in there.
But he's mine.
This is my
France
lobster.
tried to take him.
France keeps trying to take my lobster.
Keep your hands off my
My
lob.
lobster off me. Or to keep your dick. All right, so he was really a pinball kid, right?
Yeah.
Loved pinball, played a lot of pinball, big pinball.
Sure.
Big pinball boy.
A pinballer.
And
if you will.
he was like a pretentious pinball boy.
For sure.
And when video games came out, he was like, that's not legit. That's not what the cool kids do.
Analog is the way to go, guys.
Yeah, he was like a pinball truther. And so all these kids were coming to the arcade, they were playing all the video games, and he was like, nah, it's all in the pinballs. But he slowly started to notice that the kids were more interested in the video games than they were in the pinball machines.
Right.
And so one day, this is a direct quote from him.
Because he used to have like crowds form around him
To watch
when
him
he's
pinball.
watching play pin. And he's like,
Yeah.
gather round,
Gather around,
youths.
fourth graders.
Yeah. That was before he was into scaring them. And so he was like, guys. Oh, yeah. He was like, that's actually the secret they don't want you to know. But he was pretty good at it. And so now there's a Donkey Kong player across the room who's gathering their own
gathering
crowd.
a larger crowd.
Got it. Okay.
So this is a direct quote from Billy Mitchell. He said, everyone was standing around the Donkey Kong machine, and I wanted that attention.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I was going to say, I was like, everyone was crowding around the Donkey Kong guy, so I killed him on his way to his car. You know, like I can't see. You know?
So I took all my
So
ping
I
pong balls.
cut the cables to the Donkey Kong machine.
Yeah. I snipped his brakes. I thought it was the cables to the machine, but it was his brakes. An honest mistake, officer.
Sorry, officer. I don't know.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Got let off scot free. No, he this okay. This pause will make sense later. So he got into Donkey Kong really because he just wanted the attention. He said,
Sure.
I like all the attention that these people are getting. I'm getting less attention pinballing. I got to get into Donkey Kong. And so he got into Donkey Kong and invested some time into getting really, really good at Donkey Kong. and started getting to the point where he was starting to become a little.
And he
bit
had to play in the arcade, so he had to be bad at Donkey Kong in public. That's the thing, is that Twitch streamers these days, they got it good. All right, they can get good at a game, and then they can go online, and be like, look how good I am in this game.
Yeah.
Back in the day,
back
when me and Billy were in the streets, you had to humiliate yourself in public.
Yeah, you had to be bad in public.
Yeah.
That bad in public is that's a sick tagline. Can we make shirts?
Bad in public?
Bad in public.
Yeah, dude.
That's pretty dope. Yeah, I'm bad in public.
I'm bad in public. I'm too bad for jail.
I'm too bad for jail. So he got really good at Donkey Kong. And he started to build some like buzz around him in the local
do you build a following?
Scene.
What do you do?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what this looked like.
Also, is it kind of like a, hey guys, every Thursday afternoon I'm at the arcade, or is it like, you know where to find me? Like I'm there every day?
It's probably I'm there every day. Like if you're gonna get good at an arcade game, like you gotta be there, and also you gotta have a lot of quarters. Like that's
what I was gonna ask was, what's he doing for his job so that he can just afford to dump some money and time into Donkey Kong?
So I think his family's pretty well off. I can't follow this line.
It's always the rich kids, dude.
I can't follow this line exactly.
There's a Saudi prince who's so good at Donkey Kong. He's dropped $50,000 a month in it.
What was that? What
was microtransactions?
It was microtransactions. Yeah. No, I can't find the exact story here, but we can touch on this real quick. Now he owns a few restaurants in South Florida. Called Ricky's Restaurant and Lounge.
I don't like restaurant and lounge. I don't like the way that it looks with the word lounge.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, it's a brick building that is painted yellow with like a red stripe at the bottom. So, and not like a bright yellow.
Yeah, bright.
If you're familiar with Chicken Express, for people in the South, like that yellow-red combo, that's what we're dealing with. And there's a chicken putting hot sauce on something. It says Ricky's Restaurant and Lounge.
Yeah.
And with a little open late sign next to it too.
Yeah.
What the heck does that mean?
Very suspect.
What is the lounge part?
I don't know. You
Restaurant and Lounge?
Lounge around this restaurant. He also has a successful hot sauce company, also called Ricky's.
I don't like the picture in this one.
And I can't find for sure whether he started this as his like secondary career in life or if he inherited it from his family.
Okay.
I can't. There's been some.
Who's Ricky?
There's been some report like there's some articles that like loosely make it sound like this was his family's restaurant.
Used to be the guy playing Donkey Kong.
He's Ricky played Donkey Kong, got really popular for Donkey Kong,
and then mysteriously died.
He stole Donkey Kong from him, and then Ricky got a normal job and rose to the ranks. Ended up starting up his own restaurant,
and Billy had such a hatred in his heart that he just watched him from afar, and he stole his restaurants.
Billy saw how many customers he had, and he's like, I want that kind of attention.
Tried to take his wife. She was like, no.
She was like, I'm not interested. And he's like, fine, I'll take the restaurant. I'll take the next.
Can I have the lounge?
Can I have the lounge? Yeah, but it has to at least stay a lounge. You can change it to whatever you want, but it has to
whatever
still be
that means. What I think it means is that it's just a restaurant with some booths and like 2 leather chairs in the corner. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I think. Honestly, what I think it
where's
means.
Where's the lounge?
I think the lounge is like, I think it's a separate little room.
I bet it's like a smoking room.
No, I bet it's like a little arcade because he's an arcade kid.
That makes sense.
I bet there's a little arcade back there and he calls it a lounge to make it sound
sophisticated.
Yeah, a little bit more fancy.
There's also a secret door.
And there's like a stamp on the cement.
Yeah.
And that marks it. And you go down the slide and then you're
and then there's someone at the bottom of the slide just goes, do you pray?
Do you pray? The person at the bottom of the slide just goes, Donkey!
Yeah, you get killed.
It just smashes you.
It puts you into a real life Donkey Kong situation.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that idea a lot. Now, he gets really, really good at Donkey Kong. ends up amassing like a local following, and the word starts to kind of spread into the greater arcade community.
Sure.
And so he gets an invite up to Ottumwa, Iowa, which is kind of like the hub of arcade world, apparently. In the
Really?
80s. Yeah, because there was an organization there that had their offices called
Okay.
Twin Galaxies. Twin Galaxies had their office there.
Also kind of cool.
And they were the company that like collected all the data for the arcade world and like policed it, I guess. Like they were
So they're nerds.
They were the arcade
over
data
the
boys.
nerds?
Yeah, they were the arcade data boys.
Nerd narcs.
Nerd narcs.
Hold on. That's
pretty
also kind of cool.
patent pending.
Nerd narcs.
Nerd narcs.
Dude, that's like ethical hackers.
Yeah,
they should be called nerd narcs.
Nerd narcs.
People who watch over nerds to make sure that they're doing the right stuff.
Yeah, they're good nerds, not bad nerds. No bad nerds.
At least
no bad nerds.
not in public.
Not in public. So they kept all the data on arcade games.
Okay.
Primarily world records. And so he got invited up, and they would do like shows. And so they had a little arcade that they had, and they had like an audience, like a stage.
Lounge.
Yeah, sorry. They had a lounge and they had a stage. And so they would roll the games up on stage and people could watch you play.
And this is an invite only kind of thing.
Yeah, like if you were really good, you got invited to come game on stage.
Billy Mitchell.
And yeah, you would come up there, you get to play the game. They'd watch you play. And if everything was kosher and you got a new high score, they would put you in the record books. And so he does it. He lands like a 900,000 high score in Donkey Kong, which was by far like the highest anybody had ever gotten. So he ends up in the world record books, and he becomes like the darling child of the Twin Galaxies organization.
Okay.
And they start like parading him around like he's like Tom Brady of arcades. And so he's in all sorts of, they have like a magazine. They're publishing him in this magazine. He's getting all this publicity. They're having him do a bunch of live events. And they actually put together what they called the...
How does it feel to be the other guy who started out really good at Donkey Kong? And then this guy, you had this dream. Mm-hmm. And then this guy who was just the pinball guy suddenly just steals your dream?
Yeah. And you're watching him literally become Tony
from
Hawk.
your hospital bed because he cut your brakes. You're watching him on the local news channel. Be like,
Yeah. This would be a good, like, I don't know, like, Remember the Titans style film. Like to have
would it?
Okay,
so you're saying
the plot.
You're saying it would be a good Remember the Titans
film? I know the
film?
plot. I get it. I know that was.
I mean, sure, he was born in '65.
I know that wasn't the best. I know that. I know that
you think it was about the
are very different.
cultural change and
I know the stories are very different.
The acceptance of
what I'm saying
diversity
is like the drama.
Oh,
the drama of it.
Is that all it was? Was it just drama?
No, I'm not saying.
Sure, I love this.
What I'm saying is it's not about. Obviously, that cultural change didn't hurt the arcade world for years.
Hey, you're getting canceled.
So he tried to start, the founder of Twin Galaxies. I keep wanting to say Twin Flames. You know what Twin Flames is?
I know what Twin Flames is.
Yeah.
Did you watch the documentary on that stuff?
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, that's wild.
That was the only thing that made me feel like maybe our Discord channel is a cult. Because like we talked about that. Because like all you had to do to leave that cult was log out.
Yeah.
And like people could not do it.
They couldn't get away from it, yeah.
It's a lot like when I had a girlfriend in RuneScape and I couldn't just leave her in Lumbridge, you know? I had to be like, hey.
That was a man, right? That was a 46-year-old man, right? He was just with you for your coin.
I have a lot more to offer.
The founder of Twin Galaxies, not Twin Flames, founder of Twin Galaxies.
It was either a 46-year-old man or an 8-year-old that didn't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of people on RuneScape.
Yeah.
That like, I was like 13
Yeah.
playing RuneScape.
Yeah.
And I saw a video the other day where a girl was like, hey, if this was your username on RuneScape and we were best friends on there, I'm sorry that I just ghosted you. I was actually 8 years old and I was too embarrassed to tell you that I was
8 years old.
I was 8 years old. But could you imagine that you're like a 20-something-year-old playing this game? You make a best friend. Not a romantic thing. Like you make a friend in the game,
just a normal friend.
You know, and they're like talking back and forth. Like, yeah, we're going to meet up. We're going to be the best friends. You know, you have these dreams of becoming roommates in New York City or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then they just ghost you one day.
Yeah, then one day it's like they just don't exist.
They just say, by the way, I was a third grader when we were talking about that.
By the way, and my parents took my computer away.
I ended up living in New York, though, so...
So at least
This happened to me. I used to... This is good. Okay, so I used to... There's no way for me to tell you this. there's just no way for this. Okay. So there used to be forums were very popular.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And building your own forum.
Yeah, you were a forum boy.
Well, hold on. I was a specific forum person. Building your own forum was a thing.
Yeah.
That you could go online and because you had a forum for church stuff or for RuneScape forums, right?
Yeah.
All this stuff.
Yeah.
There were websites that you could use to build a forum, right?
This was pre-Reddit. It was like you just there was basically a Reddit for a subreddit for everything its own.
Was its own website.
Yeah.
And you would go to it and it had, so like I was involved in two different forums. One was cooler than the other one. One that was cool was I used to do, it's called Geek Police.
Yeah, I remember that.
I've told you about this?
I remember you doing that.
Yeah. Where
I was one of the others in the forum.
No, where
that's why I went to Evangel. I was following you.
Yeah, well, you go onto the forum. It was before you could like really just Google like, hey, what's wrong on my computer?
Yeah.
You would go to this. We would give you a thing to download. You'd run it on a computer. It would spit out a report, and then we could read the report and tell you what was wrong with the computer.
Drop a virus on the computer.
Yeah, we killed them. We took them out. I stole so much money that way. No, it was a forum for getting
it was tech
help.
support basically.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I also spent a majority of my middle school years on the support forum for the forums, if this makes sense. So if you're trying to build your own forum,
so you were the forum.
I was the support forum
for the forum.
Yes,
you were the forum.
People would come on and be like, "How do I add direct messaging between my users?" And I would respond and go to this setting and do this thing, and I would tell them how to do it, and I would do this all day. All day. I told you there's no way for me to describe
so
this.
Helpful.
I'm telling you, it's
always been really interesting to me because there's a really, for developers, there's a forum like that. And it's interesting because the people who respond are not employees of the forum.
Yeah, I was a moderator.
They're just friends.
I was an 8th grader.
They're just people who
I was
are
an
just
8th grade moderator on this forum.
Trying to be helpful.
Someone was like, how do I change the style? How do I change the color of this? How do I change the icon? How do I change, And I would just go to settings.
That makes a lot of sense because I've always thought, I was like, how do people have time for this? Like
it's just middle schoolers not doing their homework.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense because a lot of people get really mad because they'll try things and they'll be like, that didn't work. Or you were an idiot. And it's like, oh, this is a child.
So fast forward.
Okay.
2 years ago, I get a message on Instagram from some guy who goes, hey, was your username Subway King on SMF support?
How did he figure it out?
I was like, yeah.
Excuse me?
He was one of the other moderators. He knew because I told him my real name and we would message. We became friends in AIM.
You became, okay.
His name was Alex.
Okay.
We had another friend named Richie who lived in the UK. Alex?
Alex, what was his username? Ask him.
Bro, that would be...
Ask him real quick. Ask him what
was your username on SMF support, Alex?
Radio silence, okay. Give him the username.
Tell me the username. Alex?
He's passed out in there.
We can't tell if he's okay.
We have no idea if he's awake.
I think he's just now realizing his mic's not plugged in. I think that's what happened. He's back there going... Whatever. Anyway, so
a soundproof room.
anyway, we
That is pretty wild.
So
they tracked you down.
yeah, I do miss being helpful though. I genuinely loved it. I'm not joking.
Helped someone.
But I think that's why I did when I got into high school, I got into like virus removal. And like my first job was a computer repair store. That's what I helped them do, was take people's because in 2010 people didn't know anything about security. And so I don't know. I think that's why I got into that. Anyway, whatever.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, Billy,
I started my own forum called Ninja Nerd.
Okay.
And it was
about ninjas?
It was about ninjas.
You teaching people how to be ninjas?
I was trying to, it was assassins of malware is what it was.
Oh. How many users did you guys get?
Don't worry about that.
So Twin Galaxies was ran by a guy named Walter Day. And Walter Day, I'm going to be honest with you, has got to be the guy that and he's not the bad guy, but he's like the red herring, white rabbit, the white rabbit in Home Alone.
What?
Was based off of him.
The what in Home Alone?
Remember the beginning of Home Alone when there was there's the murderer, but it was he ended up being the hero.
The old guy with the shovel.
Yeah. They acted like he was the murderer and they tried to paint him like a bad guy.
Neighbor.
Yeah, but he ended up being the hero.
You're saying just because he looks like that?
Walter Day has got to be the guy that they base this guy off of.
Because of how he acts, or because he looks just like
him.
Okay.
Because he looks just like him. But yeah, Walter Day was the owner of Twin
I like
Galaxies.
that he's in a referee shirt. You know what I'm saying?
He always
he's
wore this. Every picture I can find, he's wearing this referee shirt.
That or he just got off his shift at the Silver City flooded jail ride.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Walter Day took Billy and a few of the other big name
under his wing,
big name gamers, and was like, we're going to do the Electronic Circus. And so what this was going to be a 40-stop tour across the country.
So this is E-games.
And they were going to bring a bunch of their own games, their whole cabinets, roll up literally on the street and take them out on the street and then play these games on the street, and everyone could see them be really good.
Come on, come all. Look at the nerdiest people you've ever seen. Look how pale they are. Look how white and pale they are. Do they have girlfriends? No, ladies, don't make eye contact. That'll spook them.
Watch, you can see them burning in the sun.
Look at them. You can hear it. You can hear their skin.
The longest they've been outside.
That guy's
years.
talking to the worms. Look at the weird people. Everyone show up. What are you talking about? They just show up on the street? Hey, thanks for being part of this episode. If you want to help us do more of this, you want to help us grow our show, one of the easiest and best ways to do that is to join our Patreon. It's a way for you financially to support this show, and you get a lot in return. You get access to our Discord channel. You get bonus content that comes out. You get exclusive merchandise and live Zoom hangouts where we're both just hanging out, eating pizza, just getting to know each other. The biggest thing is we want to know you more as an individual and as a friend. So thanks for supporting our show. If you don't support us financially, we're not pressed about it. We're not mad, but I'll find you. So text TILLN to 66866 to keep yourself from being found. All right, because if you don't, I will hunt you down. Were people going to these events?
Well, so they booked this whole circus. And days.
Wait, they booked it. They went to the Chamber of Commerce of a town and they were like, can we use your public park?
I'm pretty sure they didn't actually book it with anybody.
Yeah, they showed up.
They got a trailer.
We did a tour like
and
that.
And they planned to just leave.
We did a tour like that. That's good.
Yeah.
Good
and they were like, we're going to go. And the day before, a couple days before, it fell through for some reason. I think they probably realized, we don't have the money for this. That's probably what happened.
They got a big bus.
Yeah. And so a couple years later, they kind of re-engineered it into the U.S. national video game team. And they actually went out and did this. Cool. They would go to arcades around the country and they would do these exhibitions in the arcade. They didn't bring their own gear. They just showed up and they played.
Because were they just trying to set the high scores on all of it? Like imagine that local arcade,
Yeah.
right? You've got the high score on Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
You're the local legend. Here comes a tour of professionals who come into your stomping ground. All right?
And take your high score.
You've been spending months working up the courage to make eye contact with the bartender there. And this guy
She's
swoops
32.
in. She's 32.
has 4
You're
kids.
17. You've been spending months because on your 18th birthday, you're going to make a move.
Yeah.
And
You're going to look at her for
you're
once.
like, hey,
I'm a man now.
it's my birthday.
I scored 90,000 in Donkey Kong. Highest
see
score,
my high score?
ever in this town.
And then here comes Billy Mitchell.
rolls in. And 10x is your score.
Like slow-mo. Bow, 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 bow. Yeah, you get what I'm saying.
he hits that high score. 10x is your score. 900,000 points. Turns around, immediately looks her in the eyes.
Just puts a $20 bill. That's a huge tip.
That's a massive tip in the 80s.
Massive tip in the 80s. I just, hey, darling. Calls her darling?
Calls her darling? Doesn't even...
No G on the end?
That's a G-list darling.
Okay. Doesn't ask for her phone number.
No.
Doesn't ask for anything. Just walks outside. Now she's got 5 kids. How did he do it? How did he do it?
He's basically the David Blaine.
That's what I'm saying,
of
though.
arcades.
Imagine you had the high score at this arcade, and here comes this tour that comes through.
Yeah.
And they obviously set a new high score.
Yeah. There's not a lot of other things when you were in high school in the 80s that a professional could steal from you like that. Like imagine...
What?
Like just imagine it's 1984.
Okay.
You're the starting quarterback.
Yeah, it's not like freaking Joe Montana's
Joe
going to show up at
Montana
your
rolls
school.
into your town and says, I would like to start this weekend. It's a homecoming game.
I mean, if he
Homecoming
did,
weekend.
if he did, they'd let him. You know what I'm
They'd
saying?
be like, I mean, it's Joe Montana.
all right, well, what are we going to say? No?
I mean, yeah, what are we going to say no to Joe Montana? He takes your date to homecoming dance. Hey, we voted the quarterback homecoming king, but we're going to give it to Joe Montana instead because he's
Give it
way
to-
cooler.
Could you do a write-in campaign for like prom king? Bro, should we launch
I'm
a write-in campaign for a local prom king?
These guys don't even go here. They don't even
I'm
live
just
here.
standing out in front of a high school, being like, "Hey, write-in
Signs
Jaron.
and buttons.
I'm having a write-in campaign for prom king for a prom that I'm not going to go to.
I legally cannot.
I'm not even there. I'll have to send an intern to accept it on my behalf.
That's pretty freaking funny. That's what they did.
I can make a whole list of stuff I can steal from high schoolers.
So yeah, they went from town to town and they just stole all the hopes and dreams from local high school kids.
Sure.
Who worked so hard to get high scores.
Yeah.
And they didn't do this like a ton. Like they would do like a dozen a year. Like it wasn't a huge every week they were in a new town sort of
Sure.
deal. But it was big enough to where they started to build a little bit of a reputation in the late 80s into the early 90s to the point where they began being featured on like large name things. For example, the National Video Game Team got featured in Life magazine. They're also featured on MTV. Like they were getting some mainstream
Attention.
recognition for being really good at arcade games.
Sure.
But then something interesting happened. The video game crash of the 80s.
Was there a video game crash?
There was a video game crash. So home gaming came out with the Atari.
Oh, that's right.
And it became a massive industry. I believe it was 83. It was a $3.6 billion industry, video games in general. So that was arcades and home gaming.
Sure.
In 85, it was a $100 million industry. So it massively crashed. And so that made the twin galaxies nearly go bankrupt. They had to close their arcade. They had to close their offices. They had to change their entire operation.
Like, what are we going to do? We can't go to the kid's home and steal his high score. Is this where we draw the line?
Ding
We draw the
dong.
line and go to his house?
It's like the publisher's house. Like ring the doorbell and they're like, "Hey, we brought a professional to beat your high scores on your home game system."
This is the professional. It's not a giant check. They're holding the professional.
Holding.
Billy's here to ruin your day.
His legs are just dangling. He's literally picked up on this shirt.
Yeah. Well, he's pretty short, right?
No, he's like 5'9".
Why was that actor portraying him?
So that actor was not portraying him.
Oh, okay.
Here's the thing. Like I said, he's had some controversy over the last few years.
Oh. We're getting into that right now?
We're not going to get into controversy just yet. But what I'll say is a lot of people have likened him to, what's this actor's name?
I don't know, but he's a great actor.
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. Oh,
He
yeah. I mean,
does
is it
look-
just because they look alike?
He does look a lot like him.
Oh, that's the only reason?
Yeah.
What is this from?
I don't know. That's some movie. And the reason they chose this is because the character that Peter Dinklage plays in this movie it's not supposed to portray Billy, but it is Billy. It's him.
Oh, okay.
It's his character, and he looks a lot like him. So it was pretty odd. Anyways, and I didn't mean to show you that when I showed you that, but
okay.
I just was getting carried away with that tie.
They look a lot alike.
They do look a lot alike, but he is like 5'9", 5'10". Like he's but Walter Day still carries him by his shoulders everywhere he goes.
Okay.
Walter Day, you would not know from looking at this picture.
Super strong.
Yoked.
Oh, I knew from looking at that picture.
So there's the crash and it changes twin galaxies. And so the industry, it takes a hit in a way like it wasn't getting the same kind of public attention that it was getting before. But there was still like enthusiasts that existed and would still play the game and get hyped into it. And so he was still doing Donkey Kong. He still had a couple other games that he was getting high scores in, but he had the world record in Donkey Kong. Listed in Twin Galaxies, listed in Guinness Book of World Records.
What was his score?
It was like 980,000, something around there. Not 1 million, close to 1 million. That's what I can tell you for sure.
Yeah, it's like my TikTok following.
Yeah, actually, yeah. And you just round up. Whenever someone asks, you just say 1 million. And that's what he did too.
Like 1 million.
It's like 1 million.
What I hate the most is when people go, he's got almost 1 million followers on TikTok. It's been that way for like 2 years now.
Yeah, so follow him.
Yeah. Your follow is going to make the difference.
Can you imagine if I don't know, a president said that on their campaign? If they said, "Yeah, your vote is gonna make a difference."
Be honest. Every vote counts. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. We should set up an electoral college for social media followers.
The system sucks. They're coming for your milk.
So they're gonna take your milk. So Pac-Man released in 1980 and amassed a pretty major following by 82.
But they only had like 3 years in its glory days.
Yeah.
Before the crash.
What is interesting is Pac-Man got really, really popular really, really fast. There was an 8-year-old kid in 82 who claimed that he had reached more than 6 million points in a round of Pac-Man. And this made national news. And Ronald Reagan himself wrote a letter to congratulate this 8-year-old kid.
Hey, listen here, kid. You better quit lying about your Pac-Man score. We can all see through it.
No, President Reagan was like, hey, great job. I'm proud of you for hitting 6 million points in Pac-Man. Never proved it. Nobody ever proved it. But he got a letter from the president for just being like, yeah, I hit 6 million. An 8-year-old kid. This is the equivalent of you going to the Super Bowl and President Bush writing you a letter about it to say congrats for going to the Super Bowl.
It's a little different.
It's a little different.
A little different. I actually went.
And Bush actually wrote me a letter about it. So
I'm not allowed to tell you what else he put in that letter.
But you'll find out.
Well, I think we found out. It was 2003, and some developments happened.
Yeah.
And I knew about them beforehand. And myself as a third grader I didn't know who to tell. I'm reading this whole letter where he's just like, we're going to get their oil. And I was like, what?
Your parents were like, hey, let me read your letter. I'm like, I'm not allowed.
I know. It says at the bottom, if you show them, we'll kill you.
Yeah. I can't show you this letter.
Laura's letter was much nicer.
Laura's letter?
Laura Bush. She wrote me a letter.
And she said, I hope the Super Bowl is fun. Mm-hmm. Also, eat your vegetables.
She did. Yeah, first ladies never say anything of substance. They just always go, be healthy or whatever.
Be healthy or whatever.
That's like their whole job. Their whole job is, here's my cause. Shut up. We didn't vote for you. And I want to be clear. This is not a sexist thing. If Hillary had won, I'd say the same thing to Bill. I'd be like, Bill, you had your chance. You were already president.
This.
Shut up.
Yeah, shut up.
Fade into the background.
We don't like you.
You get to live in the house. That's enough.
Yeah, you get the house. Now go make it.
Now, no, that's not. No, see, that's where
Bill Clinton.
I'm saying you get to live in that fancy house. Don't make me listen to your causes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that's...
Melania was like, we're going to quit bullying people online. Meanwhile, her husband's out here bullying people online. Wild. It's a wild time. What is Jill Biden's... Jill.
Yeah,
what is
Jill.
her cause?
She's education.
Dr. Biden.
Yeah, she's education. She's doing education.
Oh, you know that because you got a wife who's an educator.
It's also education.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's like her cause. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I do too.
Yeah, so do you. Yeah. Wow.
I worked in education once. It was specific to the SMF support forum.
Okay, hold on. We gotta get going. We got a lot more to cover here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so turns out that was a lie. And Billy, when he heard about this,
the Pac-Man score.
Yeah, when he heard about the Pac-Man score,
it's a lie.
Billy hears about it and he said 6 million. I don't know if that's possible because there's a kill screen. You know what a kill screen is? Donkey Kong had a kill screen. Pac-Man had a kill screen.
Apparently Tetris does. Did you see that kid beat Tetris?
No.
Is it where you get to like basically you get to the end where the compute like the analog games at a certain point their algorithm can't output more.
Exactly.
It starts to eat itself.
Yeah, and so it breaks. So like Pac-Man had a kill screen where it's like I think it was like $signs and dashes just start showing up on the screen and you can't go any further.
So
like
a kid beat Tetris and he got it on film.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Ronald Reagan didn't write him a letter. Happened a couple of years ago.
I got a letter from Ronald Reagan?
Who died in 2005?
The Illuminati never sleeps.
Jeez.
This is the stuff they care about.
This is the stuff that gets us demonetized on YouTube.
The Illuminati was just a little gaming organization.
Hey, we have a lot to cover. Can you move on?
Sorry.
No, but so a kid beat Tetris.
This kid gets this letter from Ronald Reagan.
Sure.
A lot of attention.
Yeah.
A lot of attention.
And that really ticks Billy off.
Billy Mitchell.
If there's one thing Billy hates, it's other people getting attention.
Yeah.
He's probably insufferable to be around when he's a child.
Yes.
He might have lied about going to the Super Bowl.
So Billy at this point is in his mid-20s. And he hears about this kid getting all this attention from the president.
I want a letter from him.
And he's like.
So he sends a letter to the president. Well, he says, "Have you seen my Donkey Kong score?" So he goes, "Hold on. Have you seen my Donkey Kong score?"
So he looks at that.
Forget the war on drugs.
He looks at the 6 million points and he says, "I don't think that's possible. There's a kill screen."
So he's like level 26.
So he goes and he adds up how many possible points there is in Pac-Man, which came out to 3,333,360 points is the max points. That's a perfect score in Pac-Man.
Okay.
And he's like, that kid lied. And like went on a public shaming circuit. And the kid was like, yeah, I made it up. And the president sent him another letter. And
can we find
we're
that
coming
kid?
Down with the full force of the government.
the war on drugs, and the war on liars. Can we find this kid?
This kid, I mean, he's unnamed in the 2 articles I've seen, but I'm sure somewhere his name's got to be somewhere.
Let's find him real quick. Pac-Man, liar.
Don't
Grandma house.
Grandma house.
Trying to find his grandma's house.
Don't look at that yet. You might spoil some of the surprise here.
Okay.
You're jumping the gun a little bit. So he goes.
How much more is there to this episode? We've been recording.
I know we gotta hustle. So he goes.
Okay.
He says this kid lied to you, Ronnie. And he's like, don't call me Ronnie. And he said, I'm gonna get the new high score in Pac-Man. So he sets out to get the new high score in Pac-Man. And he does it, is like 600, 700,000, something like that. Holds that for a while. It gets taken in 99. He actually successfully gets the perfect score in Pac-Man.
Okay.
And this was a huge deal. He had been out of arcade gaming for a couple years. Like he wasn't as like involved in it anymore. I think he was doing his restaurant at this point.
Yeah, it's a former life.
And
no, I don't play that stuff anymore.
what's up with your hands?
They just do this.
I can't stop. So he gets the perfect score in Pac-Man. So the creator of Pac-Man flies him out on a first class ticket.
Mr. Pac himself.
Where is it? He flies him out to Tokyo to get the perfect Pac-Man score. And here's a photo he took with Mr. Pac-Man himself.
A bunch of ladies.
Yeah, and those are the ghosts from Pac-Man. That's what they're based off of.
Yeah.
The graphics just weren't great back then.
Yeah, I can tell because they're all pixelated right now.
And he got this plaque with Pac-Man on it and a thing that says first to score a perfect score in Pac-Man.
And he's got his hand up to say, I solemnly swear that I'm telling the truth. Unlike that now 19-year-old idiot.
And he said, where's my letter, Ronald? Also, you'll notice, still wearing that tie.
Yeah.
Gets this perfect score and again lands in the Guinness Book of World Records, gets a lot of media attention for this, gets into the Twin Galaxies record books again. And so now he's got a couple big records and a few big games. And he kind of rides off into the sunset on his winnings from this.
Sure.
He also claims that on this plaque was a title that the Namcom, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Napcom.
Namcom.
Napcom. I think it's Napcom. Napcom.
Namco.
You played more Pac-Man than me. Anyways, it declared him the gamer of the century. And he rocked that title.
Okay.
Here's the thing. That's not on that plaque. And
You don't know that.
no, we do know it's not on that plaque.
I don't know.
And he claims that the reason you don't see it on the plaque is because when he was flying back, he dropped it and that portion of the plaque fell off and he wasn't able to get it back on.
But it said it.
But it did say, I'm the gamer of the century.
Yeah.
But you can't tell. But you can't see it because it fell off in the airport. And the airport
Somewhere
in
in the
Tokyo is
airport.
crowded.
Yeah. It fell off in my layover in Detroit.
And yeah, you don't pick anything up in Detroit.
Sun falls in the airport. It's the airports now.
That's the airports now. And he kind of rides off into the sunset. We don't hear much from him for a few years. Until the early 2000s, like 2005, 2006.
Okay.
There's a guy by the name of Steve Weeb. Don't laugh at him. Don't laugh at him.
Is the way you had Steve Weeb. You said it like we're supposed to make fun of him. Steve Weeb. There's a guy by the name of Steve Weeb.
So here's the thing. So Steve Weeb was a like up and coming new professional gamer in the arcade space.
Okay.
Early 2000s was an interesting time because classic arcade games were they had a little bit of a renaissance where there was a rising esports again for classic arcade games. And Steve Wiebe was a pretty big name in the classic game space, and he started trying to break into it.
Right.
And his game of choice was Donkey Kong. And so he was coming after Billy Mitchell's record. And there is a documentary that came out in 2007 about the road to this called King of Kong.
Okay.
And in that documentary, it kind of just follows Steve Wiebe's journey to become...
See, when you laugh after you say it, I didn't even say anything. You just went Steve Wiebe. Like it was just a quick breath after it. It was followed Steve Wiebe journey. I just followed Steve Wiebe. You know?
It's pretty funny. So his record at the time, Billy Mitchell's record at the time was 957,000.
Not a million.
Not a million.
Oh, okay. I see why this is important.
Steve Wiebe, he goes on this campaign, and Wiebe, I believe it was 2006, pulls off getting 1,200,000 points
Oof.
in Donkey Kong. And 3 hours later, Billy Mitchell sends a tape
Out of nowhere.
It sends a tape into Twin Galaxies, and he got 1,200,000 points.
Wait, how many did Steve Wiebe get?
1,200,000. And so he beat it by 200,000 3 hours after Steve Wiebe got the new record. And Twin Galaxies, being big fans, so Twin Galaxies accepted Steve Wiebe's and was like, you got the world record. 3 hours later, Steve Wiebe is like, you lost the world record to Billy Mitchell. Here's the thing that's a little strange.
The video, clearly edited.
Here's the thing, is most of the time when you're looking for world record play in these arcade games, they had to be at an arcade or a public event with an audience for it to be valid.
Right.
And that arcade machine, immediately after, would have to be the board was taken out of the machine and sent to Nintendo for verification that there was no tampering. This did not happen for Billy's tape. Billy sent a tape in 3 hours after.
But it did happen for Steve Wiebe's.
Steve Wiebe did have an audience. It was
Steve Wiebe had an audience.
That's how it's pronounced. Steve Wiebe. Steve Wiebe had an audience.
And like they confirmed his winning.
They confirmed his winning. Billy Mitchell had a tape that he had done just on his own and sent in.
Camcorder. It's 2007.
It looks like a Christmas morning video.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As you can see,
it is Christmas morning. His kids are opening presents and he's
either in the background. He's like, hey guys, shut up for a little bit.
I'm concentrating.
So as you can see, and it's like, it's shaky.
It says
Clearly.
1,200,000. It's better than Steve Wiebe. Steve Wiebe was that 8-year-old kid that got the letter from Reagan.
That's what I'm saying. That was what I was trying to make out earlier.
And so because he had such a good reputation with Twin Galaxies, they just accepted it. They're like, oh, Billy says he broke 1 million. Billy says he broke the record. Of course he did. And so they went to the website, they updated it, and they said, this just in, the record that we just now, recently, 3 hours ago, this just in you with, has been broken by Billy Mitchell, who hasn't played a game in years now. Like, he is rusty.
So wouldn't they want to get him together?
No.
For a head-to-head?
They just said, we have a new champion. And Steve was like, what? And
who?
Steve Wiebe.
He was like, what?
Yeah, so he's like, what? This doesn't make any sense. And so
Nintendo has not even verified my winnings yet.
Yeah, they haven't. Yeah, we haven't even sent the chip off, and he sent in a videotape from who knows where, and you're
who knows where? From his house, I'm assuming.
And you're gonna call that legitimate? And so Steve goes back, and Steve ends up over the next couple years pursuing, and Steve manages to get, let me get this number right, 1,253,000 points, breaking his record. And so now,
3 hours later,
this one wasn't as egregious.
3 hours later, Steve Weeb, is in his house, and he just hears, and his wall comes down, and there is a gigantic bulldozer.
3 hours later, he was waiting for him.
It's like, what is going on? Well, Steve, your house is being destroyed by a modified giant battle bot.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. If you like this one, we've got a lot of great past episodes that you can check out. One of my recent favorites is Frank Abagnale Jr. It's the dude from the movie Catch Me If You Can. And it's the story about how he scammed everybody into a really big scam. There's one scam that's like the scammiest of scams I've ever heard someone scam. So check that one out. It's a fun one. I like it a lot. But thanks for being here. So this wasn't as egregious. It wasn't 3 hours later, but it was just a matter of months later. Billy Mitchell rolls into, in South Florida, a conference, but not like a gamers conference. It was a mortgage brokers conference.
Yeah,
And he sets up a booth where he is playing Donkey Kong.
with an audience.
And he breaks the world record with this audience because he's at a conference for mortgage brokers on the conference floor. Does it early in the morning. There's not a huge crowd there yet, but there are people there to witness it. He has kind of a posse there that hypes up the crowd. They're like, he's going to break the world record. And everyone's like,
come on, weird, pasty, older guy now is now going to break the record. Come on over, come see. He's got a girlfriend. She works as the bartender down there. She's much older than he is, which was hot when he was younger, but is now just problematic. They resent each other, and that's why he has to do this.
So he's playing that in front of a bunch of mortgage brokers who are like, why is this here?
And they're like, okay.
They're like, yeah, I don't understand why this is here. Are you going to, what? And so he breaks the record and then calls it Twin Galaxies, and he's got tripods he set up for this. And he's like, here's the audience. Here's me breaking the record. I got my new world record. It's like 1,600,000. And he's like, Steve Weeb can never defeat me.
He really, okay.
And so he holds the world record for years until 2018. Twin Galaxies has traded ownership's hands a couple times.
Okay.
And Day, who was very loyal to Billy Mitchell, is out. In 2014, something very significant happened. Billy Mitchell was one of, we haven't mentioned this yet, but early in Twin Galaxies' life, because of his success as a gamer, was invited onto the board and became a major financial contributor to Twin Galaxies.
Interesting.
In 2014, the new owner was like, I don't like you.
Disbanded the board.
Yeah, and so he kind of flipped shot and brought in a whole new group of people, and that opened up the door in 2018. There became a new forum where you were able on the Twin Galaxies site to dispute world records. And if you thought, hey, something here seems a little sketchy, I'm going to bring up my reason for why I think that, and the Twin Galaxies team will review the reason. And if we think you're right, then we can update world records.
Sure.
And so someone brought it up, and they were like, hey, these world records that he got are pretty sketchy. The circumstances around him are pretty strange. He hadn't been playing for years. All of a sudden, he just pops up because someone beat his record and obliterates the record. Like, doesn't even
like not like okay, I finally beat it, I can quit playing. It's like I'm gonna beat it and I'm gonna keep going and get 400,000 more.
Yeah.
Sketch.
And it was just a tape. Like the first one was just a tape. The second one was also just a tape. We don't have the board. And it was in front of an audience that was an audience that knows nothing about what he's doing.
Right.
And so it would be very easy for him to come in there and just lie in front of the audience and be like,
Sure.
I broke the world record. And everybody in the audience is like, hey, cool.
And you saw it, and you saw it, and Ronald Reagan saw it.
They're like, Ronald Reagan's been dead for 4 years. And he's like, that's what you think.
He saw it.
You didn't see the letter.
Ronald Reagan saw it.
Ronald Reagan said it. And so
He probably does do that unironically with that tie.
yeah, he
He's
probably
just-
does. Reagan.
Don't like that.
So he kind of starts to come under this like speculation of like, was that legit? And so some people who knew a lot about this gaming world start inspecting the videos, and they notice some inconsistencies between the videos that he submitted versus the videos of actual gameplay of Donkey Kong. And this got really technical, but what we'll say, long story short, is a Donkey Kong arcade cabinet. What they do is they turn the screen on its side, the TV box on its side, because it's a tall gameplay. And so when it displays the game, it displays it on its side, like if you were looking at the screen normal ways.
Sure.
But in a legitimate cabinet box, it displays it clockwise. So you have to rotate it clockwise to see it. In his video, it's clearly displaying it counterclockwise. So the screen was rotated counterclockwise. And you can tell because of the way that the levels are loading. They are loading in the opposite direction. And so you can see all the parts of the level load in, but they're loading in the opposite direction of which way it should if this was a regulation like Nintendo board that was loading it in.
Okay.
So the theory is that he was using what's called a MAME, which was like an emulator that could be modified to allow you to have saves mid-game. And what this does is this insanely decreases the difficulty.
Oh, yeah.
So you can sit down, play for a little bit, stop, save it, come back, and continue playing it. And if you were recording from a capture device direct into the board, people who watched that back wouldn't
know the time. Yes.
Yeah, it would look like one continuous video of you getting to that score, where in reality, you filmed this over the course of months. And so the theory that was put forth by these is that he did this with the MAMEs and had a couple of these VHS tapes of him successfully getting to a higher score than was actually possible. And he sat on it until someone broke his record. And then when that first record was broken, he sent the closest score in 3 hours later. And
So you think the theory is at his house, he's got 1.1 million, 1.2 million, 1.3 million on VHS.
on VHS. Yeah.
And when it's time, he goes 1.2, 1.3? No. 1.6. It's next to his 2-part Titanic VHS. And he goes, okay.
He puts it in a manila envelope, licks it shut. Puts the 7 stamps on it that requires for that weight. And ships it in 3 hours.
Express.
Yeah, that part of the story is very sketchy that it got to them in 3 hours. Because he lives in South Florida. So it seems like they already had that tape. And he's an insider. That part of the story is very sketchy.
Well, I mean, email existed at this point. 2007?
I guess they could have.
YouTube had just come out?
He could have called and been like, "Hey, I got a tape on the way. Here's my score.
I got a tape on the way. Is that what you're saying?
I got a tape on the way."
Tell Steve Weeb, haha, that I've got a tape on the way.
And he's like, "Hey, Steve, Billy's got a tape on the way."
You don't laugh after Steve. That's not the funny part. It's
Hey,
after
Steve.
Weeb.
Hey, Steve Weeb.
Weeb is the funny part. Even if you said Mr. Weeb, haha. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Weeb is the funny part. Steve is a regular old name.
I'm so positive.
Steve
we're
Weeb,
pronouncing
haha.
this
That
wrong.
makes sense.
I'm so
Okay.
positive it's not Weeb.
Mr. Weeb, haha.
How do
That
you-
makes
okay.
sense because
Hold on.
Weeb,
How do you
haha,
think-
is the funny name. Okay, Steve doesn't make any sense.
How would you pronounce this? Wiebe. Weeb.
You're gonna hate me when I tell you what I think it actually is. There's E at the end.
There's the end.
That's clearly Weeby.
Weeby. That gets a lot more ha-has. Weeby gets so many ha-has.
I'm telling you.
Weeby.
WIEBE.
Yeah.
There were my neighbors growing up. Their last name was Reebe.
And it was spelled that?
RIEBE.
So this is Weeby?
So this is them if they couldn't pronounce their R's. My last name is Weeby.
Yikes.
Moanda Weeby.
Moanda Weeby. Okay. We still got a lot to go. So he gets the tape in.
She doesn't listen to this.
It's very sketchy, the circumstances around this tapes, and it very much looks like he was using an emulator.
This
so he
is
could
a
save
long
it. I know,
episode.
I'm working on it, and so he can save it and keep going and get the high score and fake it. He gets away with it until 2018. In 2018, this article comes out, or this stuff comes out in the forum, and he goes on a rampage. He gets all the people in the forum that were against him, some YouTubers that were making videos against him. Cartoon Network.
Wait, what?
Because Cartoon Network has a show called The Regular Show. And there's an episode in Cartoon Network where there's a character not named Billy Mitchell, but a character who cheats at Donkey Kong and throws a giant fit and looks like this.
So looks just like him.
And
I'm sorry. Are his arms coming out of his beard?
Yeah, his arms and legs are coming right out of his beard, and he's got a giant head.
Okay.
And so he sues.
He looks like a mascot for a school whose mascot is the Heads.
Go Heads!
Okay.
And so he sues Cartoon Network. He sues a bunch of YouTubers.
He will win that suit, though. That's him. You're using his likeness.
So he sues Cartoon Network, sues a bunch of YouTubers, sues all the people in the forum.
Okay.
And then Guinness.
How do you sue people?
Guinness Book of World Records and Twin Galaxies sees the reports, and they're like, this looks like you cheated. And so they take him out of the record books. Oh. So he sues Twin Galaxies.
Sure.
He sues Guinness Book of World Records. Guinness Book of World Records is like, oh, you're going to sue us over this? Not worth our time.
Do you know how many scholastic book fairs we're in right now? You don't come after us.
No, Guinness Book of World Records is like, that's not worth our time. We don't care enough. We'll put you back in the record books. So they just put him back in because they didn't want the lawsuit.
Top podcast in the world is things I learned last night. And if you disagree with that,
we'll sue you.
I'll sue you.
We'll sue your brains out.
I will sue you.
So he gets sue crazy.
How about that?
He gets sue crazy. This Twin Galaxies suit gets just
huge
out of
attention.
hand,
Right,
and it
right.
starts to last years. Meanwhile, he's in all these other suits where he's settling out of court with a lot of these other
bunch of different suits, same tie.
with all these YouTubers, these people in the forums,
Yeah.
and Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network settles outside of court with Cartoon Network gets thrown out because the judge says that he's a public figure, and that's parody.
Sure.
And so his Cartoon Networks get thrown out because Cartoon Network, they were never going to win in a suit against Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
They care.
they will.
Guinness World Records like, sorry, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Cartoon Network's like, you think we're new to this?
Yeah, Cartoon Network's like, do you understand what we are? We're a media company.
You don't come for us.
We make money off of lawsuits.
DeLorean Media Company.
We will crush you.
Sue me.
Sue me.
I'm a media company.
See what happens. And so he ends up getting in all these lawsuits, and the Twin Galaxies one lags on and on and on. And 2 days ago, at the time of filming this, the courts reached their decision. And what was decided was he would be reinstated back into the Twin Galaxies record books. Twin Galaxies, on the other hand, said you're banned from any Twin Galaxy competition, any future advancement or records, but your previous records are still here. Everything else, we don't have record of what was decided or what happened. And so it very much looks like they were just like, we don't really know. but we're tired of this. And so both of you have to do some stuff here.
So he's like, okay, I get to keep my record, which is insane and unrealistic. No one's going to beat it.
Yeah. No. What they said in articles about this is that it was found that there was, while it very much looks like this was faked,
sure,
there's no conclusive evidence that it was faked. And so everything looks like it, but there has been some decent arguments about like artifacts in cameras and about frame rates. And so it's like some of these issues could be explained by the recording device, not by what actually happened. And so there's been a lot of arguments about whether or not this was faked or not. And he, for the last 4 years, has wrecked his reputation because he is just all over interviews, like calling people out, yelling at people, saying contradictory things.
Sure.
About he's like I never do interviews, and it's like meanwhile he does like an interview every week, and he's like watch. Can you find a single interview about me claiming anything? I've never done an interview before.
Support us on Patreon. You'll get the exclusive interview.
Interesting point, Christian. Look into that.
Christian doesn't listen to this.
But and then one of my favorites, he has always been and I don't know if there's the opposite of this, but a clean gamer. And so he doesn't cuss. Like that's his brand. He doesn't cuss.
Okay.
He doesn't cuss.
Shoot, darn.
But there is a lot of footage of him cussing at people and then saying, edit that out, I don't cuss. Edit that out, I'm clean. There's a lot of footage.
Robert's got an opportunity to do something very funny.
The stinking nuts.
Edit that out, I don't cuss. That's hilarious.
Oh man!
That's funny.
So he ends up walking free with the record.
I want a whole montage of him doing this. That's so funny.
So he holds the record. He holds the record again.
Sure.
He has been vindicated. The majority of the community, though, is pretty confident he's lying and he faked this and he's a cheater.
Sure.
And he's tarnished his reputation. But one thing that he does hold for certain
that 8-year-old did not get 6 million points.
No, he actually legitimately is the first esports personality to ever get a Topps trading card made in his likeness. Again, same tie. So this was made in 99 after he got the perfect score in Pac-Man. Pretty cool though. These sell for like $17. So if you want one, you can get one. We should get one for this studio.
Without losing a life.
Yeah. I mean, it's impressive.
Wow.
That he did that. And here's the thing with Billy that I think in the 80s and 90s, he was legitimately probably the best in the world in these kind of games. Okay.
Attaining a perfect score of 3,333,360 in Pac-Man requires a player to eat every fruit, power pellet, blue ghost, and dot without losing a life. Billy did just that in 1999 in a New Hampshire arcade, negotiating the complex 256th screen after 6 hours of gobbling. That's what it says.
You can't gobble like me, weeb. Weeby.
Weeby, haha.
Weeby.
Can't do this.
Can't do this, weeby. No, he...
what was that last one?
I just kind of had a flinch. I like this one's my favorite. Just that little...
What is this video from? That was a produced video.
I think that was from the 2007 documentary, The King of Kong. He's in a lot of documentaries. He's also had a short acting career.
He doesn't do interviews, though.
That wasn't very good. Yeah, he doesn't do interviews.
I don't do interviews. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me. There's an interview where they said, yeah, you've in your first interview, or no, he said you've done 100 interviews where you've mentioned this, and he's like, what was?
I don't do any interviews.
He's like,
I
name.
Don't do any. Please bleep me. I don't do any.
You
I
have
don't
to cut that out.
any interviews. Edit that out. I don't cuss. I just put a bunch of
Just so much.
Like all like the car horn noise.
Yeah.
You know, just a
over
bunch
the
of
top.
different.
Over the top. Yeah. Don't change that part though. Leave that part exactly how he did
exactly
it.
what I did.
So he now still retains his records, still retains his restaurant and his hot sauce brand. Not that he was going to lose that. And he's kind of
Should I try to steal this guy's restaurant?
You sure are getting a lot of attention for that restaurant, aren't you?
I see a lot of people go to your. Well,
Here's what I genuinely think happened. I think he was a guy who always loved the attention. That's why he liked pinball.
Right.
That's why he liked Donkey Kong. And then he got a lot of attention for being good at Donkey Kong. He got in Life magazine. He was on MTV. He was on tour doing this gaming stuff. He got flown. And he says this, he's very specific to mention this whenever he talks about his trip to Tokyo for Pac-Man. He said, they flew me out on a first class ticket. Always mentions that. And so he lived the high life doing this stuff for a minute. And Steve Wiebe stole that from him, and he couldn't have that. And I think he knew someone eventually would. And so he made these fakes and was prepared to preserve his honor and his attention, I guess, that he got from it, even though he wasn't doing it anymore and he wasn't good enough anymore to still do it. And so I think he legitimately was really good when he was younger. But I think there came a point where, as happens with anybody, he was no longer the GOAT and he couldn't take it. And he cheated to maintain his status. And he kind of got away with it legally, allegedly, he got away with it.
Sure.
But all of us know that allegedly he cheated.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, not all of us know that, you know.
What do you think?
I think that it's pretty wild that one day I got a letter from Juan Wagon. Ronald Wagon wrote me a letter. Ronald Wagon wrote me a letter
about the Wawa Dwugs. The Wawa Dwugs.
Well, he said, congratulations on visiting the Super Bowl. I'm so proud of you.
So proud of you. Not a lot of kids your age do that.
Yeah, most kids are too busy fiddling off.
Hey, thanks for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, we've got another one about a woman named Tonda Dickerson who won the lottery and it destroyed her life. It's a crazy story and we have a lot of fun. There's a lot of great bits, a lot of funny stories that we go down in that episode. So make sure you check that out. But if not, thanks for being here. Make sure you follow, check us out on social, and we'll see you next week.